Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, we're going to be talking about the best ways to make money in Grand Theft Auto Online playing solo or as a lone wolf. So this is a very popular strategy, but it requires a specific set of things that you can do. And I feel like there's some off-limits things that you shouldn't touch or might not be the best for you, and there's some things that you can do really well by yourself. So we're going to be talking about that in this video today. Hopefully it should help you out. And even if you aren't typically a lone wolf player, there will be times when your friends and crew members aren't on and you'll have to do things by yourself. So even if you aren't a lone wolf player, these tips will still be useful for you as well. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get yourself either a solo public lobby or a lobby that just consists of you and your friends, but you're still in a public session. So whether you're on PS4, Xbox One, or PC, there's multiple different ways and strategies in which you can get a solo public session. I'm not going to be going over them in this video because they all vary and are all different depending on what system you're on. Also, Rockstar do seem to patch them from time to time, so sometimes methods will have to be updated. But if you know how to get a solo public session, do that. If you don't, if you just try and search for a new session over and over and over again, it shouldn't take you more than 6 or 7 or 8 times before you're in a lobby by yourself. And that should allow you to do the trick. Basically, with all the new updates and vehicles and weapons that Rockstar have added into the game, doing things that can make you money in public lobbies with a lot of other players just aren't safe. I mean, Rockstar essentially rewards players for destroying your business progress. They give you alert messages on the screen. They give you things like the orbital cannon, weapons and vehicles that are nearly indestructible when you're trying to focus on delivering cargo or sourcing vehicles or whatnot. So doing things with as few players in the lobby as possible is the best way to go about doing that. That should be pretty obvious. Now, let's move on to the type of businesses I think you should focus on. There's only one, in my opinion, that I think is totally off limits or that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and that is the original CEO finance and felony stuff. So this is pretty difficult to do because the only way to sell the maximum amount is by having multiple different delivery vehicles, which is really tough, especially if you're doing things solo, because that requires you to go from vehicle to drop point, then back to vehicles, then back to drop point, back to vehicles, back to drop point. It's really tricky. There's so many things that can go wrong. So I would recommend staying away from the CEO finance and felony stuff. You can do the biker stuff and the gun running stuff, the passive business. But one tip you need to know is make sure you keep your stock under 1.5 bars. If you do that in the biker stuff and in the gun running stuff, you're going to guarantee that you'll only have one selling vehicle. What you want to do is eliminate having multiple bikes or multiple gun running vehicles that you have to do on your sell missions, because obviously you're playing by yourself. That's going to increase the time you have to obviously use to sell, and it's going to make things way more difficult. So if you are doing the biker stuff or the gun running stuff, keep your stock under 1.5 bars so that when you go to sell, you're guaranteeing that you're only going to be in one vehicle. Now, let's focus on the stuff that we really want to dive into today, and that is the import-export stuff. The import-export stuff is the best if you are a lone wolf and if you want to make solo money, and I'll explain why right now. Number one, there isn't an upfront cost, which is really great. So that means even if you do get into trouble in a lobby, you aren't going to be punished really in any way other than having the vehicle destroyed, which of course is annoying. But with the other businesses, if your cargo is destroyed, you end up losing the money as well. Now, that also kind of brings me to a secondary point. If you do get in trouble in any way, shape, or form, like you get your car stuck or someone joins your session and starts killing you, just leave the lobby. You're only going to lose one supply of that good. So it's either going to be the one vehicle or it's going to be one supply of biker stuff, one supply of gun running stuff. As soon as you join the new lobby, that's the only thing you will lose. And then you'll be able to go straight back into it and start selling again. So I would definitely recommend that. There's no shame in leaving and finding another lobby if something goes wrong or someone is targeting you over and over and over again. Anyways, getting back to the import-export stuff, another reason why it's the best for a lone wolf is it's the easiest to do by yourself. For example, when you go to source the cars, the only way to source them is by doing one vehicle at a time. You really don't need anyone else to help you to acquire that one vehicle and then ultimately bring it back to your vehicle warehouse. That's super easy. Same with selling the cars. Yes, you can sell up to 4 at a time. However, there isn't a penalty for selling one vehicle at a time. The delay you're going to have between being able to sell other vehicles won't be increased because you're doing one vehicle at a time versus 4. So even though you only sell one vehicle at a time, you'll have a smaller amount of time to wait before you can get on to the next one, which is really easy. And selling the vehicles couldn't be any simpler too. It's just going from point A to point B. Now, the only difference you're going to experience is how many players you have in the lobby. If there's no other players in the lobby, you will have NPCs that will try and come after you. I think they're in cars and helicopters. Now, if this happens to you, you might want to invest in something like a cargo bob, which will allow you to avoid those NPCs on the ground and deliver your vehicles a little bit easier. Or you can try and get lucky and only have one or two other players in the lobby and hope they don't bother you. If there are other players in the lobby, this is going to disable NPCs from coming after you, and you'll be free and clear to do them pretty regularly. And all the locations for the import-export stuff are never all that far. It takes about 3 to 4 minutes at most in order to successfully deliver a car. And that's if you're taking your time. Sometimes if you want to speed through it, you could get done with it a whole lot faster. Now, a couple of other tips I can give you while doing the import-export stuff. Make sure the expanded radar is always on. So this is going to be helpful for a couple reasons. Number one, knowing the route in which you should take to get the vehicle delivered to the spot. Typically, it's at a mansion or it's at a lockup of somewhere. And with the expanded map, you'll be able to see when you need to turn or when there's going to be like a sharp curve in the road so that you don't crash your vehicle. And you can also see enemies coming from much farther away. So turn on the expanded radar. It takes a little while to get used to because it does take up a little bit more of the screen than you might be used to regularly, but it's so much more effective. So turn on expanded radar. Number two, ghost organization is the only thing that will save you from appearing off the radar. So using Lester's blind eye service, that doesn't work. That will not hide your cargo, whether you're doing gun running stuff or biker stuff or import-export stuff from other players. You have to use Lester's ghost organization, but that will eat into your profits. So try and only use that as a sort of a last resort scenario. And then the last thing I can give you as far as doing the import-export stuff is make sure you're only selling top range cars. Now, the setup for this is going to take a little bit to accomplish, but once you do it, it's going to make this so worth it. So the way the import-export stuff works is there's 32 total cars. There's 10 standard vehicles, 10 mid-range vehicles, and then 12 top-range vehicles. What you want to do is acquire one of each of the standard and mid-range vehicles. So you're going to have 20 unique total cars, mid-range and standard. And then once you do that, the game is only going to give you top-range vehicles, which obviously will make you the most money when you go to sell them. So that's what you want to do. You only want to sell top range vehicles. Don't even try and bother with like the collections or anything like that. Don't bother with the mid-range or standard. Only do the top range vehicles. Those are the best. I'll leave a link to either an article or I'll have the cars in the description so you can know which ones you want to get and which ones you need to get before you only get those top range vehicles. Now, kind of building off of that, if you're trying to get a certain car, but you don't like the one you've just sourced from your office, what you can do is actually just find a new session, and then you'll be able to instantly spawn back in your office and select or retrieve another vehicle. So to do this, you're going to want to make sure your last spawn location is at your office or is at the last known location. But once you do that, what you're going to be able to do is if you don't get a vehicle you like, just join a new session and then you'll be able to get another car. It's sort of like re-rolling the dice a little bit. Now, after you sell, there's probably going to be a 15 to 20 minute cooldown period before you can end up selling another car. Now, there's 3 things you could do in order to fill this time. Number 1, you could either work on your biker business or your gun running business, getting that ready to go to do another sell mission. Number 2, you could source more cars. That would obviously be efficient as you'd just be refilling the ones that you just sold. Or number 3, you could do things like the VIP mission. So whether it's sightseer, whether it's haulage, whether it's privacy prevention, that is something you can do to sort of fill the 15 to 20 minute time gap before you're going to be able to do another sell mission. And the 2 or 3 VIP works that you will likely be able to get done in that time should net you around $80,000, close to what you're going to be getting by selling another top range car. So you just want to make sure when you're doing this, you're being as efficient as possible. You want to make sure there's no point in time where you're either not helping your business in some way, shape, or form, or you're not contributing to making money at the end of the day. Now, the only thing I wouldn't advise against as far as switching lobbies goes is that might make things a little bit more difficult when it comes to getting a solo public lobby. And again, that might vary from person to person because I don't know how easy or hard it is for you to get a solo public session or a public lobby that doesn't have a lot of players. You might have like a go-to method that works every single time. And if you do, congrats, that's awesome. But switching sessions, you could go from a lobby with 2 players in it to a lobby with 26 players in it. And obviously that's not going to be great. That's not what you want. So just keep that in mind when you are sort of switching lobbies to try and either re-roll a car, or you're trying to maybe prevent the fact that you just lost your cargo or you got your car stuck or something like that, and you want to only lose 1 value of supply. But anyways, that's all the information that I'm going to be talking about for you guys in this video today. If you're a lone wolf or you like playing by yourself, this is a pretty great way in which you can make money in Grand Theft Auto Online to prepare for future DLC content or to just get yourself ready for the weekly vehicles that Rockstar are releasing. If you have any more tips, please share it with everyone in the comment section down below. I'm sure we'd love to hear from you guys. Maybe you have something really awesome that I didn't mention and could be very helpful to lone wolves. So let us know in the comments down below. If you did go on to enjoy this video though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. We like daily GTA 5 videos like this. Without the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.